Welcome to Chapter 6, Section 3, Proportions. All right, two quantities are proportions if they have a constant ratio or rate. What this means is you're going to build a table, a ratio table, and each ratio table in each ratio should be constant. They'll be the same number. A proportion is an equation stating that two ratios or rates are equivalent. So let's take a look here. So, determine if the quantities in the pair of ratios or rates are proportional. Explain your reasoning and express each proportional relationship as a proportion. So, 20 rolls for $5, 48 rolls for 12. So, what you're looking at here, write each rate as a fraction. So, 5 to 20. And when you divide by 5, you get 1/4. Here, divide by 12. And you get 1/4. Since the rates have the same unit rate, they are equivalent. The cost is proportional to the number of rolls. So you can say that 5 over 20 is the same as 12 over 48. Now, 42 people on 7 teams, 64 people on 8 teams. So here, we're going to unit rate. So you divide by the denominator. So that becomes 6 over 1. Divide by the denominator becomes 8 over 1. Since the rates do not have the same unit rate, they are not equivalent. So the number of people is not proportional. All right, here's another example. 3 medium pizzas for 18 or 5 for 30. So here we're going to divide by the denominator and get 6 over 1. That is a unit rate. Here we're going to divide by 5 and get 6 over 1, which is a unit rate. Since the unit rates are the same, the rates are equivalent, so the selling rates are proportional. That means $18 per 3 pizzas is equivalent to $30 per 5 pizzas. All right, so check your progress. All you're doing is setting up proportions. And to see if it's proportional, it doesn't matter which number you put where. So you can set this one up as 6 over 18 and 8 over 24. Or you can put the smaller number in the denominator, which is what I'm going to do, and compare it that way. So we divide by the denominator. And we get 18 divided, that's 3 over 1. This one is 3 over 1. So you can say that these are proportional. Determine if the quantities in the pair of ratios or rates are proportional. So it's the same thing. Same thing. As before, it doesn't matter. If you want to make this one here 8 over 16, you can. But it makes finding the unit rate a little bit trickier. That is why I recommend putting the bigger number first, or on top, so that when you divide, the 1 is in the denominator. So we have to divide all of these by the same, or these numerators and denominators by the same number, and then this by the same number. So I would, if would you please pause the video and try to work this out on your own. All right. Well, you should have just paused the video. You should have worked this out. You hopefully divided the numerator and denominator here by 8. Divided this one by 10 to get 2 over 1 and 3 over 1. 2 over 1 does not equal 3 over 1. So you say not proportional. All right. Here's another check your progress. At a food market, one farmer sells 6 for 12 and another farmer 10 for 20. Are these selling rates proportional? Well, explaining your reasoning is showing your work. So do 12 over 6 and 20 over 10. Because when you do that, you can actually show what you're dividing by, and that it becomes 2 over 1, 2 over 1. Since they are equal, you can say that it's proportional. And that's it. All right, so now using equivalent fractions. So now you have to determine if the quantities in the pair of ratios or rates are proportional. So 5 laps in 8 minutes, 11 laps in 16 minutes. All right, so these ones are a little more difficult to put into a unit rate. And what this example is showing us is it's showing that to get from 8 to 16, you multiply by 2. To get from 5 to 11, you multiply by 2 1/5. So since 2 1/5 does not equal 2, they're not proportional to the number of minutes. So this is, we're working on these by using equivalent fractions. Right? Instead of using unit rates like we did here, we used equivalent fractions. So this is another method. All right, so now let's take a look at this. 8 corrals, 56 horses. 4 corrals, 28 horses. You could use unit rates if you wanted. But let's take a look at this and say, how do we get from 8 to 4? You have to divide by 2. Here, 56 to 28, you divide by 2. So since dividing by 2 is equivalent to dividing by 2, the number of horses to the number of corrals is proportional. All right, 2 to 5, 8 to 15. Determine if the quantities in this pair of ratios or rates are proportional. So you could try to do a unit rate if you wanted, or take a look at 2 over 5. And what do I multiply by to make it equivalent to 8 over 15? So we're thinking, you all should be thinking right now, 2 times what number gives me 4? 5 times what number gives me 15? So pause the video and fill in these blanks. Okay, so hopefully you paused the video and said that 2 times 4 gives us 8, and 5 times 3 gives us 15. And since 4 does not equal 3, this is not proportional. Let's do the same here. Compare 10 cages for 25 birds to 2 cages with 5 birds. And I'm going to make this easier for myself. I'm going to do a trick here. I'm going to do this one first. I'm going to say 2 to 5 because personally I'm better at multiplying than I am at dividing. So 2 times what number? 5 times what number to get this other fraction? Pause the video, fill in that blank, and see if they are proportional. All right, hopefully you paused it. Hopefully you filled this in with a 5, because 2 times 5 is 10. 5 times 5 is 25. Since 5 equals 5, you can say these are proportional. All right, so for 6.3, your CYUs are on page 331, and it's problems 1 through 5. As always, we will do this work in class. Good luck.